and God speaks to us in different ways. And sometimes one of the ways that He speaks to us is that He'll show us things. And in this moment, the Lord showed me a whirlwind. And He said, very simply, this is what so many of my people and so many of those who have been in my remnant and a part of building my kingdom through my Spirit on earth as it is in heaven, preparing the way for His second coming, have been dealing with in this age, in this moment, in this season, in this time of history. As I mentioned that last week, of course, I referenced in our area a tornado, and we know that when such a tornado, such a wind comes, it's very destructive in nature. And that's what the enemy desires to do. He is destructive in nature. He comes, we know in John 10:10, the Bible tells us He comes to kill, steal, and destroy. So He is destructive in nature. And His goal is to destroy the very fabric of our lives. And in destroying the very fabric of our lives, if He can't steal our salvation, He will try to steal our mind. He will try to steal our peace of mind. He will try to steal the very fabric of our minds being fixed on the eternal instead of the temporal. If he can twist life with his twister, with his whirlwind, to cause us to fix our mind, our focus on the temporal instead of the eternal, we begin to lose out. And I'm not talking about necessarily salvation. I'm talking about we lose out on the life that He's always meant for us here. I'm thankful for the promise of eternity, and I'm thankful that the fullness of heaven will not be until we get there and what that is going to be like. But I am telling you that God never meant for you to live this life miserable all the way to heaven. It's never His intention. And yet to be reminded that this is a battlefield and a battleground, and so we face things and we go through things. But His twister comes to twist the very fabric of our thinking, our mind, so that our focus is primarily on the temporal. Our focus is primarily on what is temporary. Tell your neighbor, it's just temporary. I'm telling you that the darkness that you're dealing with today, and this is not anywhere in my notes, but as the Lord has spoke to us this morning already, the darkness that you're dealing with today, there's light coming. Because the light has already come. And that darkness will not be able to remain to shroud you, to hurt you, to take from you.
Hallelujah.
To take the fruit of your life.
Hallelujah.
To take your children. To take your grandchildren. To take your legacy.
Come on now.
To take the things that you love the most. To take your promises. To take your dreams. To take your hopes. To take the very things that God has placed in your heart, that He has shown you even when you were the closest to Him, even before the twister came, even before the whirlwind came. We understand that there are seasons in life where whirlwinds come against us individually and we come out of it, and God makes us stronger for having been what we've been through as we stick with Him. And many of you in this room can attest to that, because I went through that. I'm stronger here. But I am telling you that in this season that we are living in now, that there has been a whirlwind sent by the enemy, not just for a few here or there, but a destructive whirlwind to hit many in the body of Christ around the world and right here in America. A destructive whirlwind to take out His remnant, to take out the called, to take out the chosen. You've been picked by God. His hand is upon your life, and don't you let the devil tell you any different. His hand is upon you. His hand has been placed upon your life for such a time as this. You are the Esther of this hour. If you've never read that Old Testament book, I challenge you, go home, read it. For those of you who are not much of readers, read, the big books in school. You always pick the short ones. Yeah, that was me too. Esther only has a few chapters. 4. So you can do it. Esther was the least to be expected to be picked because she was a Jewish girl. She was there by captivity. There was no way the king should have ever picked her. But God's hand, His purpose, His plan was upon her life. And He prepared her. He groomed her. He placed Mordecai in her life. She lost her mother and father, but Mordecai, her elder cousin, took her in.